Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your patience while we work through some issues on this side. My name is Michael Hughes. I'm the Deputy Aviation Director over the Contracts and Services Division in the Aviation Department. This division is responsible for the professional services and the goods and services procurements for the department. I want to thank you for joining us virtually today for the Business Education Series all about aviation. This program serves to expand upon current outreach initiatives by offering quarterly virtual sessions on a variety of topics covering different aspects of our three airports. Our goal is to share information with you about our airports and try to rotate topics by highlighting different divisions and departments, upcoming opportunities, business processes, and more. So if you have anything that you'd like to learn from us, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear any suggestions that you have. And today we're fortunate to have a session that focuses on technology innovation and opportunities at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport System. Davra Malik, our Assistant Chief Information Officer, will provide you with valuable information on the important role of technology and what it plays to be in the process of a successful operation of all three of our airports, as well as he will provide you with some upcoming business opportunities. Before we get started with our presentation, I'd like to introduce Assistant Aviation Director Roxanne Favors to share a few words. Roxanne oversees several business operations for our department, including the Contracts and Services Division. So, Roxanne, thank you for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon. My name is Roxanne Favors. As Michael said, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for the City of Phoenix Aviation Department. I'm responsible for strategic and business initiatives that help grow our aeronautical and non-aeronautical revenues here at our airport. As Michael mentioned, I have strategic leadership over our Contracts and Services Division, as well as having strategic collaboration with our aviation technology team. I wanted to thank you for taking the time today. There's a great session that we're going to share about technology and upcoming opportunities. But I wanted to take a moment to say a little bit more about the City of Phoenix Aviation Department. We are a department of the City of Phoenix. We manage and operate the Phoenix Airport System. It consists of course, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, but also Phoenix Deer Valley and Phoenix Goodyear Airport. And the Phoenix Sky Harbor is the commercial air service airport, and it's the largest of the three airports in our system. We serve more than 135,000 passengers daily. We have over 1,200 flights per day, and Phoenix Sky Harbor is consistently ranked as one of the top 10 busiest airports in the nation. I also wanted to share that in 2023, over 48 million annual passengers traveled through Sky Harbor. We are served by more than 25 airlines with nonstop service to over 144 destinations. This includes the 25 international markets. As an airport, we have an annual economic impact of more than $44 billion per year. And our nonstop international service accounts for around $3 billion in annual economic impact. Our mission for the airport system is to welcome the world through ambitious, sustainable airports that everyone loves. Today, to be able to do that, managing and operating these airports are complex and require a variety of contracts and services to ensure the safe and efficient airport operations. Today's session will focus on the vital role that our technology services provide to all three of our airports. To share more about this, it is my pleasure to introduce Davra Malik, the Assistant Chief Informational Officer for the Phoenix Airport System. Davra?
Thank you, Roxanne and Michael. Welcome everyone to today's session of City of Phoenix Aviation Department's Business Education Series. It's my honor to walk you through today on what the role of technology is within our airports, how we use technology on a day-to-day basis, and more importantly, I think something that you will be more interested in is how we partner and collaborate with the supplier, vendor, and business community to keep our airports running. Sarah, if you can just give me a thumbs up that my audio and the presentation is coming through.
Yes, Davra, we can hear you and see you loud and clear.
Thank you. For a minute, I just want you to imagine when you step inside one of our airports, what happens behind the scenes. The intricate dance of airplanes landing and taking off, baggage moving behind the scenes through miles and miles of conveyors, passengers being able to check in and board, staying connected, staying safe and secure, and making it to their destination. Behind the scenes, there's a significant amount of invisible, but a very important technology infrastructure that makes it all possible. So today, our goal is to perhaps demystify what is that behind the scenes invisible technology infrastructure, the role it plays in moving passengers and goods and services through our 3 airports, and then how, as you, a member of the business community and a vast network of suppliers in the ecosystem, how you can partner and engage with us over different opportunities as they come about. I've got a relatively short agenda. I want to give you an overview of sort of different flavors of technology within our airports, how we use technology, how that interfaces with not only passengers, but a lot of back of the house, thousands of back of the house workers here at the airport. I'll introduce my organization so you have an idea of how we are organized as a group here to support our 3 airports. Want to share some examples of these different systems and technology at play. That I think that will be helpful to really relate better to what we do and how we support the airport operations. I'll touch on some of the upcoming opportunities, how we go about procurement and contracting, and also there are plenty of resources that Sarah and team will touch on towards the end. So a lot of times we hear from the business community and our vendors. So how is the airport different than any IT organization? And they're absolutely right. Think about any large any large organization which has IT support, and the airport is no different. The aviation department, we have very similar traditional IT systems such as enterprise computing, mobility, connectivity. We have a lot of on-prem and cloud services that we utilize, whether it's payroll, whether it's financial management, access control, you name it. So in many ways, we are very similar to any large organization which is highly automated and relies on technology a lot. However, what makes us really different is a host of systems that are very unique to our airport environment. We call these systems as operational systems or industrial control systems, the OT and the IT systems. Examples of this would be when you check in for your flight, whether you're going to an airline agent or whether you're checking in on a kiosk, or if you've already checked in on your phone and you're just trying to print a bag tag. That's an example. The baggage system behind the scenes,
Hi,
the
Connor.
building automate. Yes.
So sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to check right now. We're still seeing the introductory slide. If you wanted to advance, I'm not sure if you were still meant to be on that one.
I thank you for mentioning it, Sarah. I am advancing the slides. Let's see why. Are you?
Now we see the airport technology landscape.
Okay. All right. So thank you. Thanks for mentioning that. Not sure what happened. Yes, we have a lot of what are traditional IT systems within an airport environment. But then we have very specific systems that are just unique to our airport environment, whether this is baggage handling, runway lighting, the ground transportation system, how we manage the flow of all the different taxis, Ubers, Lyfts on our roadways, how we manage all the passenger boarding bridges through which passengers board the aircrafts, and a host of other systems, things such as parking. All of those combined with some of the more traditional back office systems is what really makes up our entire ecosystem. various technologies that we use here at the airport. And it's always a mystery, sort of how is it different than most other IT organizations. A lot of what you see on the IT system side is what you would expect anywhere. A lot of what you see on the OT and the ICS system side can be very niche or very special in terms of the type of vendors who provide these systems, the type of vendors who support these systems, and sort of the regulatory and certification requirements behind some of these systems. Whether it's the IT systems or whether these are the OT systems, one thing that we heavily rely on is our partnerships with the vendor community in not only deploying these technologies at the airport, but for their ongoing maintenance and support. There's no way we can do it ourselves. We heavily rely on the support we get from our supplier and vendor community. So with that background, the way we manage a lot of these technologies here at the airport is sort of in this logical order. Looking at this slide from bottoms up, and the foundational layer of what we have is a network infrastructure, a lot of server storage and administration, client computing and desktop support, project management, and cybersecurity. Consider these as sort of the table stakes that enables us to support the actual airport operation. So the bottom layer is the IT side of things. The top layer is the OT side of our airport operation. Business applications, passenger processing, airport systems such as parking and access control, data and digital services to really drive a data-driven decision organization. And GIS play a heavy role in how we support various lines of business at our airports. Would like to introduce the organization at this point. We have a relatively flat organization where we have network engineering services group that is responsible for all infrastructure, network infrastructure. We have a client computing and airport systems group, which is responsible for all passenger-facing technology. The business applications and GIS group is responsible for all back of the house systems and applications. So this would be your SAP support, your financial accounting, ERP, those type of systems. The infrastructure and cybersecurity group is responsible for all of our data center and cloud operation, as well as cybersecurity. The administrative services provides, essentially keeps everybody moving, everything moving, including our procurements, and the project management office is ultimately responsible for delivering new capabilities to our business and operations units. So I would say very familiar organization structure that if you are working with other clients or in the IT space, this should resonate with what you've seen at other places. I want to delve into some actual examples of these systems and how we use them at the airport. So I have a few examples, and let's just go through these. And I should mention, if you have any questions, thoughts that come about while I'm going through my presentation and the content here, please put them in the chat box. And at the end of the presentation, Sarah will help moderate the Q&A, and we'll be glad to take your questions and respond. We will have ample time for Q&A. So one of the fundamental sort of aspects of our operation is our infrastructure. So this includes all of our servers, storage, backups, the data center administration. We have data centers locally here in the Valley that we utilize for a lot of our infrastructure and systems. You can consider this to be more of a traditional IT infrastructure management. A lot of servers, a lot of storage, a lot of backups. This is also how we manage our business continuity and disaster recovery. So if you're in that space, we rely on that support and expertise from the industry. We also have a lot of presence in the cloud, whether it's software as a service, whether it's platform as a service. We leverage cloud more and more, and A lot of our footprint is transitioning to cloud as well. But this sets the foundation and the backbone that supports everything, all the systems, all the technologies. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they rely on this back-end infrastructure, and the infrastructure team is really responsible for managing it. So we partner a lot with providers for the data center technologies, whether it's servers, whether it's virtualization, whether it's backups or disaster recovery. We rely a lot on the support and the products and solutions that that you guys provide in this space. So moving on from the server and the administration side of things is then our campus-wide network infrastructure. So this is essentially the backbone that traverses our 3 airports, covers our entire campus, all the terminals, the airfield, the parking garages, the rental car center, and our 2 general aviation airports. This is the network on which everything ultimately runs. And we have a very vast network that supports our 3 airports. We have what we call as an MPLS network. So it's a carrier grade network to support the type of operation we need for our 3 airports. And by virtue of that, we have a significant amount of what we call as IDF, MDF, or just technology rooms, communication rooms throughout our 3 airports. If you have worked at the airport on a project, then you probably have an idea of these rooms, and if you've not, then if you've worked at another location, then I think you're also familiar with it. We have a couple of hundreds of these spread out our entire campus, and whether it's expanding our concourses or terminals, building a new facility, or rolling out a new system, we are always expanding our network, and vast amounts of fiber and cable is always being laid in our environment here, whether it's on the curbsides or inside the terminals. It goes without failure that we're always expanding our network to support the growing needs of the business as well as our tenants. Switching gears a little bit, so from moving from some of the back end and the background of what supports everything to more customer-facing, passenger-facing systems and technologies we have. It's very common if you've traveled, then your check-in experience, whether you're going to a kiosk or whether you're going to an agent to check in or drop your bag or print a bag tag. The common use systems that support and enable that operation, we manage these, we support these systems, and we operate these on a 24/7 basis. At the gates, when you're boarding, that technology is also supported by our organization in Terminal 3 and the International Concourse in Terminal 4. The flight information screens that passengers heavily rely on to check the flight status, gate changes, any other changes associated with their flight and schedules, as well as some of behind the scenes, how we allocate and make sure that the right aircraft is at the right gate at the right time through our gate allocation system. All of these sort of in combination really enable us to deliver a seamless experience for our passengers when they show up to the right gate, to the right flight, and their baggage making it to the right aircraft upon departure. Something else you might have experienced very commonly, all the announcements that happen at the airport, whether you're waiting for your flight at the gate or you're just walking through the terminals, or listening to a TSA announcement about keeping your luggage and belongings secure. We have this infrastructure across the entire airport that enables the airlines, our stakeholders, and our federal partners to disseminate timely information for passengers. And this infrastructure is again supported on the network that we have across our campus. When your first touch point, when you sort of arrive at the airport, if you're parking, then you are parking in one of our facilities, most likely. Right from there, interfacing with the parking system to gain an entry into one of our 12 facilities. And then upon exit, leaving the parking facility and paying the fees for your parking stay. It's a massive infrastructure across our dozen or so facilities, parking facilities at the airport. And all of this infrastructure is heavy on electromechanical components. So this is a little bit different than many of our other systems. There's a lot of moving parts in this type of technology. There are motors, there are arms, there are gates, there are payment mechanisms. We also rely a lot on the vendor community to support this system because of all the different intricate pieces that make this operation possible. So a lot of times, if you're paying a fee for your parking stay, and if there is an issue with the parking payment at that spot, or you notice something needs to be corrected on your credit card statement, so there's the payment side of the parking operation that handles the fees and the payments and any changes to that. And when you're entering or exiting and making sure that the parking booths and the operation is up to date, and we can get you out on your way as quickly as possible. There is a separate team that is responsible for making sure the physical infrastructure is operational. Needless to say, the scale of our airport and the size of our parking operation really makes it a very high important strategy for us and a priority for us to make sure that the parking system and the technology that supports it is available 24/7. Now, if you didn't park in one of our facilities and you took an Uber or a Lyft to arrive, or you're getting picked up by a family or loved one, then we also have a very expansive network of infrastructure on our roadways at the airport, which allows us to track all the commercial ground transportation activity that is happening on our roadways. So keeping track of all the taxis and limousines and charters, operation or hotel shuttles that operate, keeping track of all of those, to keeping track of all the Uber and Lyft operations here at the airport. We do that through our ground transportation management system. This is a network of sensors that we have throughout our roadways, and it allows us to accurately capture every trip that is happening at the airport. So when the ground transportation operators are charging the fees to their customers, those are accurate, and those actually reflect the actual activity of those vehicles here on property. This is also one of those systems where we rely a lot on our vendor support, because this is very specialized infrastructure and a very dense network of sensors and readers, and how we track all the activity on the roadways. And moving from something that's very niche, such as tracking all the ground transportation activity, to something that's not very unique to an airport. The difference here is that a lot of the regulatory requirements that the airport has to meet, from TSA, CBP, and DHS, as well as other safety and security requirements that we have, all ultimately result in us having a very elaborate network of CCTV cameras within our campus. So we can have the eyes and the ears and sort of a situational awareness of our environment, both for operational reasons as well as for the safety and security of thousands of passengers and customers who are traversing the airport on a daily basis. If you're familiar with the CCTV systems and these type of technologies, goes without saying that we have a lot of needs in this area when it comes to storage, when it comes to deploying these cameras. We are always expanding So these cameras and this type of infrastructure brings upon unique needs, such as in our Phoenix environment, which is very dusty, the cleaning of these cameras, the maintenance of these cameras, and replacement and break fix of these cameras. And we actively partner with the vendor community on a lot of these needs to make sure that we have eyes and ears throughout our campus, 360 every day of the year. And just the back end side of things, we work a lot with storage providers to make sure that we have enough capacity to record and store and see all the video that that we are seeing from all the cameras at our 3 airports. So from CCTV to our airport operations center, which is really the eyes and the ears. This is where we see a consolidated 360-degree view of our airport operation. And what makes this center unique is we bring a lot of technologies here, video walls to radio communication to dispatch technology, a lot of conferencing, and they have access to all IT and OT systems that I was referring to earlier. So this is really a place where all of our technologies come together in one location. And if you want to get a feel of all the different technologies, then our airport operations center is a good example of that. Which also means we are always life cycling equipment. We are life cycling the displays. We are bringing them new technology to make their operation more efficient. Surface management is a very different technology. Here we track the aircrafts that are actually on the airfield and up to 50 nautical miles from Phoenix Airport. So we can optimize how aircrafts taxi and how they depart and arrive, so passengers and the aircrafts can have as less of a wait time at the gate as possible. And this is a network of sensors throughout our airport, and it really helps us get a good understanding of what's happening on the airfield and also in the airspace, in Phoenix airspace. Over the last several years, we had a very concerted effort of providing passenger-facing as well as our workforce-facing applications with a mobile-first strategy. So we are developing new applications. We are developing whether it's web development or mobile app development, we're really taking a mobile-first approach to make sure that we are catering to the needs of our customers. So we have a lot of needs in the mobile development space. So if you are in mobile development, application development in that space, or user experience and user design space, then yeah, we're looking to partner and we're looking to benefit from your expertise. We are also a very heavy user of GIS, geospatial technologies, whether it's understanding what utilities we have buried within our environment to, where are all of our runway lights and taxiway lights, to, how we utilize space at the airport. This is an example where how we're using GIS to track any discrepancies on the airfield when it comes to meeting the Part 139 FAA certification requirements. We are a very heavy user of GIS, and our focus lately has been in application development. So we can provide GIS tools in the hands of our field workers, in the hands of a lot of our construction projects, so they have better visibility to field conditions on the spot. So if you're in the GIS space, this is an area of growth for us and something where we are absolutely looking for expanding the scope and partnerships. So now I want to, after giving some examples, I want to switch to how we go about actually meeting some of the needs that we have, whether it's systems or resources. There are several ways how we go about it. The first way is how we leverage commercial off-the-shelf, whether it's hardware, whether it's software, whether it's computers, laptops, tablets, servers, storage, or software such as Office, ERP, Windows operating systems, etc. If something is available to us off the shelf, then that is something we'll always take advantage of if it satisfies our needs. But many times we have to also look beyond just off-the-shelf technology, and that's where we get into the niche airport IT systems and the OT systems. So these are the check-in, the boarding, the passenger boarding bridges, access control, and those type of systems where we will put out a very specific requirement, and we look for experts in the industry who provide these systems and support these technologies. More closer to me is our technical IT staffing. We have a pretty large IT organization here, which is comprised of both employees as well as contract staff. And our contract staff is equally important and allows us to really manage our 24/7 operation. So we're always looking for more IT staff in various areas. So we have multiple IT staffing contracts, and we have almost 30 plus different IT staffing needs, ranging from desktop support to GIS to network engineering and everything in between, to data and analytics and AI and so forth. So if you're in the business of providing IT support and staffing and staff augmentation, then I really encourage you to kind of look at the opportunities we have and how you can engage. And many times we also have very specific needs around, for example, project management. So we will put out requirements where we need somebody to deliver professional services for us to manage projects. Or to deliver consulting services, whether it's airport consulting services with expertise in airport technology, or it's just general cross-sector consulting in IT. We put out those requirements as well from time to time. And last but not least, a lot of these systems that I mentioned earlier and the examples I gave, they need a lot of level 1, level 2 support, which I call as the break fix type of support. So we are always putting out requirements and looking for vendors and suppliers who can provide us that boots on the ground, technician level support so we can operate and maintain our systems. We satisfy these requirements, these different needs, through a variety of procurements. Ranging from request for quotes to invitation for bids, request for proposals or RFPs. Sometimes we do requests for qualifications if we think that the market for that particular need is very, very small, and we really need to make sure that we understand who can deliver those requirements. Revenue contract solicitations is a specialized sort of procurement where it applies to a procurement that results in the contracted entity sharing revenue with the airport or with the city. And then we also use the City of Phoenix's qualified vendor list. So if you're not on the city's qualified vendor list for the IT requirements, then I definitely encourage you to search that or ask us, and we can send you a link, and contact the city procurement to see how you can register as a vendor on their multiple qualified vendor lists. That just helps us to get access to your resources, to your capabilities, having already gone through a competitive procurement to establish these qualified vendor lists. No matter which procurement method we're using, it's really important to understand and always remember that we are never your first point of contact. Your first point of contact is always our aviation contracts and services team. They will direct you to the right contact. They will direct you to the right resource, whether here at the airport or within the city. And my team acts as the subject matter expert, and we can then engage at a later stage in that process. I also want to draw your attention today to something that is very common in our airport environment, but you may not be familiar with it. There are a lot of construction projects that happen at our airports. Whether we're building new gates or a new facility or expanding a terminal or optimizing a facility, there's always some type of construction happening. And many times these construction projects involve a significant amount of systems and technology scope. Most of that scope is low voltage infrastructure, does not require permitting, and Many times the construction project is looking for a master systems integrator who can come, do a full-scale design, do a procurement, implementation, testing, and commissioning of a variety of these systems. And I've listed some of these systems here. By no means this is a full list of what these construction projects entail, but a lot of these projects will involve one or more of these systems every single time. So I also encourage you to keep an eye out on a lot of these construction projects that are happening. And if this is something that is new for you, then definitely reach out to to the resources that will be mentioned at the end of this presentation, so we can direct you and connect you to those construction projects and the right resources. I must say that the scope of technology and systems that's involved in these construction projects is pretty significant, and we encourage you to take a look at it and how you can participate. Lastly, we also take advantage of what we call as cooperative procurements. These are procurements that have already, competitive procurements that are already in place. For example, some of the ones that we take advantage of quite heavily is the state of Arizona cooperative procurement. Specifically under that co-op, we use the Information Technology Solutions and Services contract and the Network and Telephony Equipment and Services contract. The cooperative procurements allow us as an airport and as part of the City of Phoenix to take advantage of qualified vendors and solution providers who have already gone through a competitive procurement process to provide a host of solutions and technologies to the state of Arizona. So if you're aware of this cooperative agreement, then great. Then you're already accessible to us. If you're not aware of this, then we would encourage you to do some research and see how you can register and participate in this cooperative agreement. There are also two national cooperatives, the one through Omnia Partners and the other one through Sourcewell, that makes a lot of services and solutions available to states, cities, municipalities, including the City of Phoenix and the Aviation Department. So if you participate in those cooperatives, then that's good news. That again makes you accessible to us. If you do not participate currently in those cooperatives, then we definitely urge you to research that and see how you can participate. These are very conducive ways to make your services available to the Aviation Department and the rest of the City of Phoenix. I think I'm coming up to close here in the next one or two slides. I want to highlight some upcoming opportunities that you might see in the near future. We have upcoming opportunities coming up in the project management services. So look out for an RFP in that area. We're also soliciting or planning to solicit airport technology consulting services in the very near future. So both of these procurements are imminent, and it should be out there in the near future. We're going to be putting out a requirement for maintenance of our CCTV system that I mentioned earlier, the level 1 type of support where we need technicians who maintain and support this system and help us with the ongoing upkeep of this airport-wide system. We have a replacement of our passenger emergency duress system. These are some of those blue call boxes that you might have seen in parking garages. So if a passenger or customer in the parking garages needs help, maybe they forgot where their car was parked, or they don't feel safe or secure, they can just press a button and they can get help right away. So we're looking for a replacement of that, and we'll be putting out some requirements. We have an airport-wide digital content management system effort going underway in the near future. So we'll have requirements for that. Customer relationship management implementation system. So if your expertise is in deploying CRMs for large retail or airlines or hospitality industry, then this is something you want to keep an eye on. And then I have a few construction projects listed here for you to just keep a note of. And if you want to get connected to those projects, we'll be happy to do so. Each of these construction projects has got a pretty significant IT and technology scope. I will end on this slide, which is about, yes, we have a lot of established systems and requirements and procurements, but we are also being an airport and having to support so many different dynamic stakeholders. We are also always looking to innovate. And there are some key areas of innovation where there will be opportunities for partnering in the future. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is definitely one of those areas where the landscape is evolving very fast, and we're trying to partner and see, who we can work with that helps us not only ideate but also test some of these use cases in real world environment. And we're also looking at building a data and analytics center of excellence that would allow us to really push the ability to work with data and analytics and data-driven insights within various lines of business. So how we develop that organization, the model we will use, and how we develop that capability within the broader community is also something that we are looking to partner with someone who has experience and expertise in that area. I think this is the end of my presentation. I will hand it over to you, back to you, Sarah, for your remarks, and then any Q&A after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Daver. And you just provided so much great information about how technology plays a vital role in our airport operations. So thank you for that. I know I learned quite a bit, and I hope those of you tuning in were able to get a lot out of the presentation as well. So I'm the Small Business Engagement Manager. In my role, I oversee our education and outreach initiatives with businesses interested in working with our airports. So before we get into the Q&A portion of the session, I wanted to share some general resources and links that you can see here. And don't worry, we will be sharing the slides after this session. So you feel free to take pictures, but you will be receiving these in an email as well. So the first link I wanted to point you to is a link to our vendor registration portal managed by the city's downtown finance department. Registration is open to any and all interested vendors. Once the self-registration process is complete, vendors will receive a notice via email when there is a solicitation within their stated scope of work. We recommend also periodically checking for current solicitations posted, which you can do so in the second link here. There's a lot of great information listed there about each solicitation that posts, including due dates, who the procurement officer is, and when a pre-solicitation meeting is scheduled, which we highly recommend you attend for any solicitations you are interested in bidding on. The next link will lead you to the city's Equal Opportunity Department website, which can provide you information on our certification programs. The city offers 3 certifications: Small Business Enterprise Certification, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification, and Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification. So please visit that website to learn more about those programs. And if you enjoyed today's event, we do intend to continue offering more outreach events, both as part of this business education series, as well as for other specific opportunities and other general outreach. So we do hold an annual Aviation Business Summit, which is coming up in just a couple months. That will take place on February 25th of next year, and it's open to any businesses interested in learning about how to do businesses with our 3 airports. We're going to have a great amount of different sessions, networking opportunities with current business partners, city staff, and community resource groups. So please make sure that you check out our outreach page if you're interested in registering. And lastly, you can visit our Sky Harbor website, business website, to learn more about doing business with us. And if you have any other questions or simply want to reach out, please be sure to contact us as you see the information posted there. So we do have a few minutes left. So right now we're going to go ahead and go to the Q&A portion of this session. So if you have any questions about any of the information that was shared today, Daver and Michael are still here with us. So we're here to answer any questions about the procurement or the technology information that you heard today. And let me go ahead and see what we've got in the chat so far. So we do have a question here. All right, so Daver, I believe this is for you. So you have shared an exciting roadmap and a very interesting portfolio. We have capabilities in a few areas that they list: CRM, GIS, mobile, to name a few. We are responding to the IT staffing RFP in July. Are there any details on timelines and next steps for that RFP process? And actually, maybe Michael has more details there, but Daver, if you have anything to share, please let us know.
Yeah, I can certainly share what I know, and then I think Michael, feel free to add as well. First of all, thank you for your interest in that IT staffing procurement that you participated in. It's certainly a very valuable resource for us. So thank you for your interest there. My understanding is that the procurement is still ongoing currently. And if I remember the timeline correctly, then our plan is to have a recommendation for the contract award in the January timeframe. So that's my understanding and what I know of that procurement. But Michael, feel free to add anything as you see appropriate.
Thanks, David. You are correct. That is an ongoing procurement. And because it's ongoing, there's a solicitation transparency policy in effect. So Daver's very careful not to provide anything that would violate that. And so we are trying to make a decision. If we continue on with the process correctly and everything goes well, we hope to make a recommendation in January of 2025.
All right, thank you, Daver and Michael. We also have another question here. Can you share what are the advantages of being a part of the City of Phoenix qualified vendor list?
Again, we may have to tag team on this, Michael. I would be interested in your perspective too. The City of Phoenix qualified vendor list, once you are on that list, then anybody in the city, including aviation, we can tap into that resource. And because the qualified vendor list process has gone through some sort of a competitive process to qualify those vendors, then we have access to those vendors. So, for example, if let's say you specialize in cybersecurity solutions and you are on the qualified vendor list for the city, so if tomorrow we have needs in cybersecurity and we are looking for external help and resources, then we can go to that QVL and look up the vendors that are there. And if anyone provides cybersecurity resources, then we could directly engage you and work on whether it's a scope of work or whether it's resources that we're looking for. That allows us to engage with you and take advantage of your capabilities and resources.
Yeah, Daver. Yeah, the important thing to remember is you register with the city. The qualified vendor list is a procurement process, and Daver has to have access. He has access to the city's IT, information technology, and that's where these qualified vendors. That's where you want to compete. You want to compete for those procurement opportunities, and that will allow Daver to access it for the aviation department. So it's really important to register first and then pay attention to the solicitations. Sarah provided you with a QR code for that as well, and that's what she's referencing. Make sure you monitor that regularly, and then you can compete for those qualified vendor lists as it relates to technology. So we encourage you to do that, but you register with the city first. That tells the city you're a qualified business. It doesn't do anything more than that as far as a procurement process, but you're ready to go, basically.
Great, thank you both. We have another question here for Daver, and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with all the technology terms, so if I say this wrong, so are there any initiatives for BIM/CAD data into the airport GIS database?
A very timely question. So whosoever asked it, you must have a crystal ball. Yes, we are having a lot of discussion around how we can leverage the BIM data, especially coming from a lot of the large construction projects. Each of these projects that is running for several years is now able to deliver BIM data beyond just the traditional AutoCAD files to us at the end of the project. So we recently started some conversations on a project regarding how we can better create a process and ingest the BIM data that could be available from these projects, and how we can ingest that in our GIS environment to provide a lot of additional tools that take advantage of 3D modeling and 3D mapping. So the answer is yes. We are absolutely looking to take advantage of BIM. There are a lot of stakeholders when it comes to BIM, primarily our facilities and services division. They are one of the heaviest user of such data, or will be. Therefore, we are engaging them, and we're definitely open to hearing more about what you can do with respect to BIM and helping make that compatible with GIS and exploring that in the form of GIS applications then.
Wonderful. And we're almost out of time, but let me see if we can get to this last one here. Davar, are there any upcoming opportunities for pre-arrival or on-site indoor navigation?
Maybe I'll answer it this way. While we don't have a planned opportunity around pre-arrival navigation, we are, as part of our digital strategy, we have prioritized what we call as a digital marketplace, which will provide a lot of those facilities to passengers, including pre-arrival, such as parking, and then how do you get to parking if you have booked parking beforehand, navigating to parking, and navigating to your check-in from there and to the right security checkpoint with the least wait time. As part of that broader digital marketplace and that ecosystem, there is definitely a scope for various pre-arrival capabilities and technologies, including even getting to the airport. So we're interested, we're curious to learn more on what your capabilities are and if there is a synergy there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Davar. And it looks like those are all of our questions. So I do want to remind everyone that we will be sending an email to everyone that attended today within 72 hours after the event with a copy of the presentation that was shared, the recording, and the list of attendees. So with that, I just want to thank Roxanne, Davar, and Michael for participating in today's event. And thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope to see you at our next event, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.